Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new here. My name is Brooke, or Baby Sims on all of my socials, and today we are building another suburban home in Newcrest for my save file. And this is one that I actually really liked, but had like a complicated relationship with, because I looked at a reference picture and honestly it's one of those things where it looked really nice in person, but as I was building it, it was like not simmable, so I had to kind of put my own spin on it, and I do like the way it turned out. But I don't know, my main problem was with the reference picture, because the roof looked like, once I did it in The Sims, it looked really flat, and it's one of those things you can get away with doing in real life, but not in The Sims. So you'll see it here when I do it in a second, like right now. See how that roof line looks so flat? I just hated that. I don't know, like it just looks so bare and boring. So I ended up adding these little dormers that I think really made or break the build, and it made it, because it definitely looks cute now and I like it. And yeah, I really do like this house. It comes to there is 4 bedrooms on the second floor and then a bedroom in the basement, so 5, and I'm pretty sure there's also 5 bathrooms as well, and there's a basement, and we have some cool what's that word, amenities in this house. We have a playroom, a home office, a like downstairs rec room, game room, TV room type of thing, and yeah, I thought, in a garage as well, which I thought was pretty cool. I really do like the way this house turned out. I think it's super cute, and it is for a family, so let's get into that, because I want to talk a little bit with them. Now, I don't remember their last name, and right now I don't need to know it. You guys do, because it's the title of this build, but I actually don't remember it as I'm speaking. But either way, let me just get into my notes app here. Okay, so there is a grandfather who lives here, and his name is Nicholas, and he is a retired comedian. And when we do his bedroom, you'll see that I added a microphone in his room, because I still think that he likes to practice his jokes and tell jokes and things like that, but I don't think that he is in the limelight anymore, just because of his age and how he's a little bit older. And his daughter is the mother of this household, and her name is Tina, and she followed in her father's footsteps, and she is also a comedian, and they are super cute, and I love them so much. And then Tina married Caleb, who is the dad of this family, and Caleb is an astronaut, and yeah, so I thought that was pretty cool. And together they have 3 kids. They have a teenager named Levi, who is a male, and he is 17 years old. They have another teenage daughter named Zoe, who is 15 years old and a female. And then they have another daughter named Stella, who is 12, and she is a female, and they have a pet dog as well. So that is a family who lives here. I don't really too much tea on them, because if I'm honest, I didn't make them yet. I kind of didn't get a chance to, because it takes me like 2 hours to make a Sims family, and I'm not exaggerating, because I like to give my Sims like 5 outfits per category, even for just random townies, so it does take me a long time to make a Sims family. So that is why there isn't one yet, but when I do make them, I'll be sure to post them somewhere or let you guys know, because I feel like you guys should start seeing the families I make for these houses a little more. I feel like I'm really bad at that, like not posting them. Oh, okay, sorry. Let me talk about my real life for a minute. It is currently a heat wave where I live in east of Canada, and it is currently 40 degrees here, like 35, but it feels like 40 with the humidex, which for you guys is, all you Fahrenheit people, is approximately 95 degrees. So let me check what the actual like thing is. I use Snapchat to do this, because Snapchat has like a thing on it. So it's 30 degrees Celsius here, and that means it is 85 for you Fahrenheit people, and that is too hot for Canada, and it's just a lot, and I'm suffering. So I'm sweating to death, but right now I actually have an ice pack on my thigh, and that sound you heard a little bit before was me moving it to the other thigh, which was really hot, and it like shocked me because it was so cold. So yeah, I have like ice packs on deck because it's that hot, and I can't survive, and it's suffocatingly bad. So yeah, I hope where you are it isn't swelteringly hot, because I personally feel like I am in hell. So yeah, I don't know. Sorry, I was so spaced out there for a second because I was texting back my friend who is in a crisis, but hello, I'm back. Right now we are doing the entranceway, which is a little bit of a mudroom vibe. There is a mudroom in this house as well, but I decided to incorporate this dream home decorator kind of custom shelving thing with this one, and I really like it. I think it's cool, and I really do like this whole house. The color scheme is kind of like black, beige, and white, which is like, I kind of try to bring in the exterior color scheme into the interior color scheme, just so that it feels a little more, I don't know, connected. Does that make sense? I don't know. Either way, you get the point. So yeah, we're doing the little entryway here. This house has like really big rooms. I'll give it that. Like every room is pretty gigantic. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like I have really nothing to talk about, so I'm really sorry if I just mostly talk about the build today. I've had a long day and I'm exhausted. I've been in the sun all day, I've been in the pool all day, and if you like swim often or if you have a pool or anything, you know what I mean, but chlorine is exhausting. Like it just straight up burns your eyes out, which I know is like a really big first world problem, but you get the point. But yeah, we're just doing the outside mudroom is what I call it, because it leads to like the back deck. So there is 2 mudrooms like literally directly across from each other, which is kind of stupid, but yeah. Sorry, I was taking a drink of my pop. I'm currently obsessed with cherry coke. It's like the best thing in the whole world. I just got 2 text messages from my friends who both said it is too hot, and I agree. Like Florida is not Florida. I'm not in Florida. What am I talking about? Canada, like especially where my part of Canada is not used to this kind of heat. Like this is like breaking records type of temperatures, and we are not at all. Like the hottest it gets here usually every summer is 26 degrees, which for you guys is I think like 70 something Fahrenheit. I don't know, but either way, it's too much. It's too much, and none of us can handle it. Like you're not, like we're in like an actual, like there's warnings on the screens and your TVs and phones and everything that are like, don't let your pets outside, close all windows and doors. And the thing is, I know in like other countries that are usually, or other places that are hot, like Florida for example is where I was saying Florida from, it is like basically mandatory to have air conditioning in like each room of your house, or at least in your house. Yeah, we don't have that here, and barely anybody I know has air conditioning in their homes, because again, it's like Nova Scotia in Canada. We have like the coldest winters and not really that hot of summer. Like we don't get extreme temperatures of heat at all. We get extreme temperatures of cold. Like we go to -20 for cold, but we don't get like we don't get this high of heat. So nobody's prepared for this. Everybody is suffering. None of us know what to do, and the whole city is just like in a meltdown basically because it's too hot, and none of us can handle it. And I know like all the people who are used to really big heat, like if you are in a place that's usually hot, you're probably laughing at me like right now. Like if you're in Florida, you're probably like, oh my god, girl, like it is like that is like our cool days here. And I understand, but it doesn't make it any less hot here, guys. Actually, right now it is hotter in Nova Scotia than it is in Orlando, and I checked. So if you are like in Orlando, Florida, or Texas even, because I checked, it's hotter here than it is in Texas and Florida, so technically we have you beat, and we are suffering more than you are at the moment. So yeah, heat's not doing well, and it's not really good for my dog. My dog Bandit, well, my family's dog Bandit, I wouldn't say he has epilepsy, but he does have seizures. Not really frequently, but they're triggered by things. That's why they're not really frequently, because they're triggered by different things. That's what makes them non-frequent. And he is one of those things. So like he's having a rough time because it is so unbelievably hot. It's like too hot for him. So when it's hot like this, we don't know what to do because he just has seizures. And then like it's like, oh my god. And it's not even like there's nothing we can do. We obviously can't change the weather. And like we got an air conditioning for my parents' room today, so he's mostly been staying in there, which is good, but yeah, it's just too hot for everybody, I think, and it's just a little too much. And I am emetophobic, and I'm terrified of like throwing up, as I've talked about quite a bit on this channel, and I am terrified of heat stroke, so I've been like chugging water all day because I'm so terrified of it. That was me taking a drink of water because I'm thirsty and it's hot and I can't deal. I feel like I've said it's too hot, like the word hot, too much in this video so far, but it just is, you know what I mean? It just is too hot, and I'm suffering real bad. I have a fan going in my room, but it's like it's not helping, and this ice bag isn't helping. Nothing is helping. anyway, about the build. We are currently working on the living room, which is absolutely gigantic. And one thing that I did when I first started building this house that I changed later on when I was doing like kind of edits is what I call it, is I actually merged all the rooms into separate places. Like right now, as you can see, it's kind of open floor plan, and I did end up changing that. And where the piano and stuff is, I ended up changing about this here moment because I was like, wait, we don't have a dining room table or anywhere to eat at. So I decided to remove the piano part and put a little dining room, but it just looks so bare. And you know what I'm like when it comes to builds? I don't like having bare spaces. Like, it's fine every once in a while if you're depending on the style of build, but I just don't like when things look empty and like not lived in enough. So I ended up closing off the rooms to make it a little cozier for each room and designing them a little better, which I think really helped because I went from kind of disliking this build for that reason to thinking this is a pretty cool build. So yeah. And there also has a playroom, which I wish I kind of decorated more, but I'm not gonna lie, when I was building this house, when I was doing this part where I did the downstairs, I was not feeling it by the time I got to the playroom. I'm pretty sure it's like one of the last rooms I furnished, and I was so just over it. Like, I was so over building. Couldn't stop thinking about my Sims family. I just wanted to go and play them so bad. And so by the time I got to this room here, which is the playroom, I was so lazy and did not care about it. So that is why this room is like kind of half A word because I couldn't do it anymore, guys. I couldn't do it. So yeah, it is pretty nice still. It's just like a weird shaped room, and toys are weird. Like, you can't really like just put things around. I don't know, it's one of those things. So I don't know, it's just like hard to do. So yeah, this room was hard to furnish for sure, but I tried my best. I really did. And the reason I give this a playroom is because I was thinking make it maybe a gym or like a library or something, but I do that so much in my build. Like, it's so common for me to build home gyms and theaters and different things like that, but I never really do playrooms. So I was like, you know what, I'll do a playroom. When I was a kid, my dream was a playroom, and it all started when I went to this birthday party for this, actually I'm not gonna name drop her, but we'll call her Emma. That wasn't her real name at all, but I'll call her Emma. And she had a playroom, and her house was actually kind of like this, like big fancy type of thing. And she had a playroom in her house, and it was decked out with like the best toys. Now, I wasn't like not spoiled as a kid. Like, I had all kinds of cool toys and things like that, but she had the toys that I didn't even think I wanted until I saw them. So, and she also had a playroom. And also, I've been kind of obsessed with homes and like building homes and decoration since I was a kid in a weird way. Like, people used to make fun of me for it. So when I would go to this girl's house, and I noticed one thing I was really obsessed with for absolutely no reason, and you guys are gonna laugh at me for this, was when I went to her bathroom to use the bathroom, she had like a towel ring, you know, the ones that kind of like hang up your towels on, and it's like a little circle. I was so jealous of that. I thought I was so rich and fancy. And also, I was so jealous of their fridge because it was one with the screen where you can like make different types of ice. I still don't have those. My family still doesn't have one of those. I wish we did. I love those fridges. That's like the epitome of rich to me. I don't know. But, and she also had a 2-story home, which I never did, which I'm grateful for my house I live in now. In fact, I would not move in her house if I had a chance to, because it's a very populated area, and no thank you. But, I was really jealous of her as a kid because she had like so many cool things in her house I was so intrigued by. But her playroom was it. Okay, her playroom had it. Like, she had every cool toy. It was decorated so nicely, and her parents, you could tell, were like the very aesthetic type. So like, everything was so pretty looking, and their playroom was just awesome, and I was obsessed with it. And I never went back to her house though, because me and her weren't really friends. It was just like a class birthday party. Like, she invited everyone in the class, so I just like went. But me and Emma, we were not friends. So I never really went back because like, why would I? We weren't close. So yeah, I hope she's doing well. I don't know. I don't think I've ever seen her since like middle school, but yeah, if you're unaware, I'm not that young. Like, I talk about it like it was recent. I am a high school graduate. I'm 20 years old, so obviously this was like 15 years ago, but yeah, so she had a playroom, and I remember being so jealous that I went home, and a couple days later, this is so mean of me, I still regret this is mean activities, but when I got home from her birthday party, I wrote my parents a list of things that she had in her house that I wanted in ours, such as a playroom, a 2-story home, a towel ring, like a laundry room. Oh my god, I was so obsessed with her laundry room, and the fridge. Like, I even drew a little diagram of the fridge. Yeah, my parents weren't very happy with me, but that's respectfully so. I mean, like, hello. Or you be mad about things you don't got, instead of things you do have. So yeah, I can understand why they're mad at me about that, but I just really wanted her house, and I thought it was cool, and she was lucky, and she was rich, because listen, okay, let's give you a little story time. I love using these as like podcasts. Sorry if that's annoying and you want me to talk about the build, but I use these as my personal diary and also my personal podcast. So let's talk a little bit about my school experience growing up and different things like that, because I love to tell this story because nobody ever believes me. But before I get into that, I just want to say how much I love this teen bedroom. Okay, moving on. So I grew up in Nova Scotia. I grew up in Halifax, okay? And the part I live in Halifax is literally not common at all. Like, we have a very, very low population compared to the rest of the city. And if you ask anybody who doesn't live here, like, oh, if you say, like, oh, I live here, they're gonna be like, where in the hell is that? Like, what is that? And what words did you speak to me? That's the kind of, like, part of town I live in. Nobody really knows where it is. Even the school people I went to school, like, high school with, which was only a 20-minute drive, were like, where? Which is insane. But, like, yeah, so basically, I don't know, I'm gonna make up, like, Sims names for it. So basically, for example, say I lived in Willow Creek, right? And our school was in Oasis Springs. And then some of the people, so my school was split between half the people who lived in Willow Creek and half the people who lived in Oasis Springs, where the school was. Now, the Oasis Springs kids, obviously not the real names, by the way, I'm making up code names, but the Oasis Springs kids who went to the Oasis Springs High School really hated the Willow Creek kids, like myself. I don't know why, but here's my theory on it, and I'm really sorry if this offends anybody, because I don't mean to. If you're rich and you hate people who aren't, that's your own problem. But that's why they hated us, I think, because they, like, Oasis Springs in my city, the real one, obviously not called that, but the real thing that I'm making coding for is, like, a very, very rich part. And, like, I mean mansions. We had, like, they have, like, mansions, and it's, like, kind of a city type too. Like, they have their own little, like, mini city there, and yeah, and it was all rich kids, and all of the rich kids hated the people who lived by me in Willow Creek, because, listen, where I lived in Willow Creek, nobody really here has a ton of money, unless you go in one of the, like, there's a suburb after, let's call it, I don't know, Brindleton Bay, let's say that, right? In Willow Creek, there's a subdivision called Brindleton Bay. Brindleton Bay is all rich people, but if you just that subdivision. But Willow Creek itself is not known for being rich people. In fact, it's mostly one-story homes, bungalows, you know, like, small little single-family home, rarely a two-story, like, very rare. My house isn't even one, and neither is, like, anybody I know who lives on the street except for one person, unless they have a basement, which I do, but, like, you know what I mean. So not many people liked us because we were so different in many ways, because I don't want to be rude, that's the thing, because I don't want to, like, diss anybody who has this, but honestly, I was jealous of some of them because they lived great lives, but they were very preppy, and I know that meaning has changed nowadays with the new kids, but I don't care. Preppy in the way that they were very rich, and they wore, like, Gucci to school, and they drove Range Rovers to school, and they were basically like the Gossip Girls of the city of Halifax. So they were loved by everybody, and they kind of stuck to their own that lived in Oasis Springs with them. And then eventually, like, it was daily that there was fights between Willow Creek and Oasis Springs people. Like, it was insane, and it would get heated. Like, cops would have to be involved because people would be, like, actually beefing. Like, people would be, like, threatening to harm other people with sharp objects, and, you know, pew pew people. So yeah, it was not good. And then it would get real bad, and the police would come, people were arrested all the time, people would get jumped all the time. It was so bad. If you're a little person, not little person, but you know what I mean, if you're under the age, maybe don't listen too much what I'm saying, because I feel like this is not kid friendly, but you know what I mean. It was just bad all the time. Like, they were constantly fighting, and even with me, I didn't have the fighting part, but they didn't like me, and they made that very known, where it was so weird, because, like, if you were a White Hills kid and you try to be friends with the Oasis Springs kids, they wouldn't accept you. They just hated you, like, every single one of them, except for one girl who was an exchange student who lived with a family there, and she's still one of my good friends to this day. She moved back to Mexico, where she was an exchange student from, but she was the only one that accepted me, and I didn't. And the funny thing is, sorry, I had to edit that part out because I said real names, but the Willow Creek kids never hated the Oasis Springs kids. Okay, we had nothing against them. Maybe a couple of them did, but for the most part, most of the people, which I know everybody out here, because again, it's not a big part of the city. Like, it's very small town vibes out here. So not anybody that I really know hated any of the Oasis Springs kids, but they really hated us. And it was all because we didn't have like the same money and lifestyle they did. And that was it. Like, that was the only reason they hated us, because I remember people asking them, like, why do you hate the Willow Creek kids so bad? And they would just be like, oh, well, I don't hang out with broke people. Like, that'd be the things they'd say. Like, they were just insane in that way. And like, they would bully us, and it was so bad. But yeah, no, they picked on us really bad, and they would make our lives really bad. So glad I graduated from that stupid school. I went to, because all of us had to go to school in Oasis Springs. So think of it that way. Like, we all had to. And since we were Willow Creek kids, the Oasis Springs kids were like, oh, you're in our territory, so blah, blah, blah. Like, it was so weird. Like, you're 15 and you're arguing about who lives where. Like, we didn't choose that. And also, it's not our problem. And also, who cares? And they cared so much about it. And they were so mean to all of us all the time. Like, it was daily that there was these, like, big old riots, basically, about it. And I know it sounds like I'm lying, because, like, who cares this much about where people live and all this and that? But no, they did. Like, they really did. And it got really bad. Like, I've seen people, like, near Grim Reaper needing. Like, the Grim Reaper was at their door because of fights that they had with each other over the stupid where do you live type of thing. So, like, a lot of us started to lie, but then it got really bad. I don't know. It's just so weird to me where people care so much about, like, status, I guess. I don't know. That's another thing they cared about. Like, okay, here's a little story time, and I really hope he isn't watching this. That would be so bad. But I once dated a guy who lived in Oasis Springs. We did not date for long, and his parents hated me simply because A, I dyed my hair red, and B, I lived in Willow Creek. Like, that's the only reason they hated me, and it's insane. I also had a friend who lived, when I was younger, I had a friend who lived in Oasis Springs, and her parents wouldn't let her come over because I lived in Willow Creek, and it's not even, like, a bad neighborhood. Like, it's insane. It's insane how people care so much. But this video is almost over. We're just adding some final touches in the backyard, and that was my little bit of a story time. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you enjoyed my ranting and raving about how stupid high school is with stupid statuses and things. I barely went to school, to be honest, which, don't follow my footsteps, go to school, but I was homeschooled, so because of that. I'm kidding, no. So homeschooled because I just didn't like in person. But either way, thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Alright, bye everybody.